Well done, Nancy. Great playing over there.
Thank
With
you.
your Seinfeld bass. Everybody, it is
totally
day 4
Seinfeld
of our
bass.
5-day Big Blend Radio Celebrate Music and the Arts Festival. And Nancy and I are here airing live from Tampa, Florida. We have our guest co-host, artist Victoria Chick, you hear on Big Blend Radio all the time. And we're excited because now we're going to Georgia, to Peachtree City. Who doesn't want to go to Peachtree City? Apparently, zombies walk around there, and so do all the comic characters from Marvel. I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff going on there, and artists that open their studios among the zombies and say, come on in. You never know what can happen. But our special guest today is ceramics artist Andrea Boswell, and she's the organizer for the Southern Hands Artist Studio Tour that comes up November 14th, 15th. There may be something going on the evening of Friday the 13th. Zombieland again, right? You never know. But everyone, you can go to this website to learn more. It's SHASTOUR, so SHAtour.com. But welcome, Andrea. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
That is awesome to have you on the show. I know Nancy and I are excited because we're going to meet you later this year in the fall before the festival. But can you explain to everybody why I'm saying zombies?
Well, certainly. There is a very well-known television show that is filmed in Sonoy, Georgia, which is just butts up to Peachtree City, Georgia. And so the zombies are from that show, and the visitors from people who love that show, and they're going to Sonoy to see where bits and pieces of that show is filmed. And listen, I'm sorry to say, but by the time you guys get here, the peaches are going to be out of season. We're at our height of our peach season right now, and the peaches are magnificent.
Oh my gosh, Victoria, we're in trouble.
You're making me hungry here.
But I thought the idea of a peach mimosa or peach daiquiri, peach margarita, peach, all of that just sounds wonderful.
I know. Yeah. Let's have one right now. Why not?
I'm on it.
Peach cobbler. I know peaches, really good peaches are a big deal to me. Like when we lived in Julian, kind of near where we met Victoria in Southern California. We've all moved around since way back when. And in Julian was known, this little mountain town in San Diego was known for apples. It's still known for apples and apple pie. But peaches and pears was actually the big deal before the apples. And if you went and got a peach at the right time and take a bite, like the juice will go down your entire front of your body.
Yep.
And I don't care. It's how it's supposed to be. That is a good peach. Does that happen in Peachtree City? Like when you just have that big, juicy peach?
Yes, of course it does. And peach ice cream is another biggie. So, so my husband Phil has, made several batches of that recently.
Ooh. Oh man, we're excited
I'm carrying
to
it
come
on
to
my
your area.
thighs.
Oh well, that happens. But you gotta enjoy life. I know.
That's right. I agree. Life is short. Eat dessert.
So listen, Peachtree City in this area. So now this studio tour, I love that it's called Southern Hands because, you got to think about art. And did you come up with the name?
I did.
Cool. Very cool.
There's a lot of Southern, quote unquote, names around here. Like there's the Southern Grounds Amphitheater and Southern Grounds Camp for Kids. So, but I was looking in the library, and we had some big contest to name the studio tour, and I came across a book that was entitled Southern Hand Artists, and so I nabbed it. That's where I got it from.
You're loud.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No, but I like it because I always think about the value of people really understanding art and what goes into it. And I think with you being in ceramics, you're hands-on, right? So that really
exactly.
And, Victoria, for you with what you do is painting and even making, the printing, the monoprinting. That's still it's all handwork, right? That's your hands
Well,
are
yeah,
really
yeah,
important to you. Yeah.
right. Yeah, I don't use a press, so I use my fist to print. So, yeah, it's true.
Wow.
I've been anxious to talk to you, Andrew, actually, because I'm curious as to, I hear about Georgia clay, and I envision a reddish color. Now, is that the kind of clay you use, or for your work, or is that kind of clay, all over the state, or am I all wrong on that? Because you don't live in an area. You have impressions from what other people have said.
Well, I remember when I was traveling from Wisconsin, Victoria, to Florida, and we would hit Georgia, and the ground would go from being black to brown to red in Georgia. And so it's the red Georgia clay. And that is not necessarily the clay that people use for pottery. We do use Lizella clay that comes from Georgia, a little town called Lizella, and it looks green when you're working with it. But as you fire it, it becomes red. And the higher you fire it, the darker it becomes, so that if you go into a high fire state with it, it's more of a gingerbread color.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
It is.
So what are the minerals that make the difference? I mean, what's the change there? That sounds fascinating.
I think it's iron that gives it the red. You're asking tough questions, girlfriend.
Okay.
Well, okay, but now I have to say,
Get the peach mimosas out, everyone.
as a kid, when my dad used to take us out to these clay cliffs somewhere in California, Southern California, and the clay was tinged green. And if you chipped away with it with your pick, you got shark's teeth, prehistoric shark teeth.
Interesting.
In the green clay. So now I'm like, wow. What makes it green? Huh.
Iron.
Good question.
I think it is going to be iron and stuff. I mean, to me, it's like every soil is different, and I find that trippy. Where we travel, like petrified wood and things like that. It's just like you look at this and it's like, how did all these colors come out? But it is interesting, Victoria, you talking about clay. I know we were talking about the Southwest New Mexico Clay Arts Trail, and I was looking at the amount of artists that are working in clay and pottery on the Southern Hands Artist Studio Tour. It is interesting about clay because I feel like it's important that, and Victoria, you were talking about this in your article about the Southwest New Mexico Clay Arts Trail, about, you drink coffee. Do you really want your mug to come from Walmart, or do you want something that is handcrafted with love? And oh, whoops, sorry. But you know what I mean.
Right.
No, but
I mean, when you're holding your coffee in the morning, you want your cup to feel good. You want your coffee to be nice too, but you get an extra kick out of holding something that feels really good. And
art. And art. It's someone has lovingly done and created and crafted. To me, let me just put it this way: mass production versus handcrafted is the important thing in the world, and that's what I love. With pottery, it's this amazing art, like textile art too, which is this functional part, and so it becomes part of your life. I think it's a really interesting thing about that. Also feels like someone's hands have gone on it. Kind of like, when I was singing professionally, I didn't wear shoes because I could feel the vibration better through my feet that way. I was also trying to be Janis Joplin, but
that's her story, and she's sticking to it.
That's really true. And another fun fact for you is that a mug that you get from one of those fine establishments, when you put it in your microwave, or a bowl or a plate, and you put it in your microwave to heat something up, when you go to reach in to take it out, you'll burn your fingers. And the reason for that is they don't fire it to the temperature it needs to be fired to in the kiln to make it viscosus, or I think the word is. I'm not really sure.
Wow, that's a big
But
word.
it has to hit a perfect temperature. So if you get a handmade mug, chances are likely you're going to put it in the microwave. When you go to reach in and take it out, you're not going to burn yourself. Same thing with the bowl.
Wow.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the other thing is, usually a bowl that you get from a potter can go into, and it certainly can, it can go into an oven, because our ovens only go up to 550 degrees or something like that,
right.
600 maybe at the max. Whereas when that piece of pottery is in the kiln, it's fired at the lowest temperature, about 1800 degrees.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
Take an oven,
Wow.
it can take a microwave, it can take a dishwasher.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
One of
All
my
of those are
favorite
fun
things.
facts.
I used to make beer bread years ago, back when we had a home. We weren't traveling, but I used to make beer bread. And Nancy has her other bread thing. Victoria, you know Nancy and her bread making.
Oh,
but
yes.
Mine has
We've
beer.
been through that.
Mine is, yeah, we're kind of similar in that we don't want to have to knead it that far. But like the beer bread was like, it was another cheater's recipe, but it had this I had this handmade beer bread. I mean, you can make any bread in it, but this was my beer bread.
Loaf pan. Yeah, that
my
was
loaf
awesome.
pan. And it was like this cool
Clay.
like blues and browns and all of this cool stuff, and I just liked getting that out. It made it special instead of work. It changed how you made bread. It was like, this is a special occasion. Pour yourself a glass of wine and make beer bread because they match. But you know what I mean?
Not have a beer and make beer bread, huh?
I know, but I didn't. I had wine when I did it. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. I don't. I'm weird. But it was that I still see that in my head, that vision of that piece, And I think this is what's so interesting, and painting is important too, because when you buy a piece of art, you're living with that art on your wall. And this is the beauty of art and doing these studio tours. Two things. One is you get to really meet the artist, hopefully, maybe see a demonstration, but you're also exploring a region. So how did this all start for the Southern Hands Artist Studio Tour? Because was it like, hey, we're going to let people in our studio, or where did it all begin?
There was a lot of arm twisting. I joined an organization called Fine Arts and Craft Entrepreneurs, which was just a county organization of artists, hobbyists in the area. And when I entered the room and saw how many people there were, and the diversity, and actually the excellent talent in people who were just doing it as a hobby, I thought, and I got to talking to them and found out how many of them had studios or space set aside in the house, the garage, basement, wherever. And it got me to thinking about when I lived in Wisconsin, how they had studio tours. So I started talking this up, and interestingly enough, nobody had ever heard of a studio tour, had never participated or gone to a studio tour. So that's why I say it took a lot of arm twisting, and even today there are really good artists in the area that just don't feel comfortable opening up their homes to people they don't know. So my hat is off to all of these artists who have agreed to open their studios or their home studios for the public to come and tour, because it's not a business place. It's actually their residence.
Their home.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. Right.
Yeah, Victoria, you went through that too, didn't you? Like at one point you had it open, and then you're like, dude, no, I'll do it for special occasions.
Well, I was just thinking about when you were talking about how people, artists are a little leery about opening their homes up. That's kind of too bad, but if they ever tried it once, and I think that they would find it to be an enjoyable thing, and I hope some in the future will change their minds when they find out how much fun the rest of you have had. I had in my studio. I had the first year we did it. It was really, really popular, and we had 62 visitors, and over a 2 day period. And
that's a lot.
That's a lot, and it was almost too many, because I couldn't I talked all the time, but I couldn't talk to everybody, and so but it was enjoyable, and I really was excited about doing it the next year, and there were fewer people the next year, but we had almost 30 artists on our studio tour, which is probably too many because there's no way people can get around to see everybody. And I think it sounds like you have a good mix and a good number of people, a number of studios to go see, so that everybody will have a good experience and have time to really interact.
We really do. We have 14 studios and 27 artists that will be in those studios. We do have 30 artists altogether, but 3 have recently backed out of doing the tour. They will do our online sales tour with us, but they're not going to do the tour because their significant others have issues that they're afraid COVID may affect them.
Yes.
So,
that was what I wanted to touch on. Yeah.
We have painting, pottery, photography, woodworking, silversmithing, wood turning, wood burning. Floral design is new for us this year. We have glass artists and weaving artists, fabric artists, and jewelers. So and of course, I already said it, but many potters. And the fun thing about all these potters is we don't do anything the same.
Cool.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
right.
Look at your art. Your art is amazing. I was looking at it, just like I love fantasy, the horse, and just you just kind of do what you want. Like it's like, do you just wake up one morning and go, I'm doing this today, and like now I'll do this. You've got the functional, then here's an actual piece, and then is it Raikou pottery? Raku pottery?
Raku.
Mm-hmm. Raku. I don't know. Right. So I'm hoping we get to have a lesson when we see you. Nancy and I need help. but yeah, because that's the thing is there's all these different things, and then you even think about like, do you say potter? Is that politically correct these days, or is it ceramic art? Like, I think this is what's so beautiful about these studio tours is it's like going to a winery that allows you to ask questions and doesn't look down on you for not knowing everything and how to make the legs twirl. But apparently we don't say legs anymore. But you know what I mean? So we don't. Do you see what I'm saying though? But that's the thing.
You're exactly right, and that is one of the reasons why I open up my pottery wheel to whoever wants to try it, because many, many, many people thank you. The movie Ghost think they can sit down at a pottery wheel and make a pot. Easy peasy.
Patrick Swayze will come out like magically, or Whoopi Goldberg will come out and yell at you.
Right, and so when they sit down and actually put their fingers in the clay and try to maneuver it and get it up and manipulate it, they realize that really is truly
there's more to it
an art form.
Yeah.
Well, I can say this: there goes the fingernails.
That's exactly right.
I can't have fingernails. I'm not allowed. But like, isn't it physically challenging too to do it? Like, don't you physically have to be strong in a way to do it?
I do believe so, and I think you have to have. And I've been told to lose some weight and strengthen my core, and I would be better at manipulating the clay, because you have to sit in such a fashion that, and you have to secure your elbows on your knees, and they can't be floating out in the air, and there's a lot more to it than just sitting down and doing it.
Yeah,
right.
True. But and it's interesting if you lose your focus. Like, you can have this beautiful pot that you've made, and you're working on the neck of it, and it's coming up, and then you hear a noise, and you turn your head, and boom, there it goes. Well,
That's right. It's off against the wall.
I know.
Wow. Well, I think I like that you're open to people trying, because I think that, like you're saying, it gets people to really understand the work that goes into it. It's like, Musicians have that too. I always relate everything back to music because that's what I know. But it's like here, even when you pay for a piece of art, you're paying for everyone's life work to get to that point. And when you're a singer, we're not allowed to smoke or drink or do anything fun like that. You have to be clean.
You just say that.
Well, I don't smoke anymore. I did years and years and years and years and years ago.
Did I hear about the drink?
And well, no, you're not allowed to drink the day of performance.
She's just being honest.
I know.
Yeah. You're not allowed to have wine before your performance, but I did not listen to that. And I'm
That's
not
why
doing
I'm
music
like,
anymore.
really?
No, but there are these things of everything physically does affect your art in some way. But I don't know. I think that there's so much work that goes into art and I don't know if you can say art gets better or the next album gets better or this piece gets better. It's always going to progress and be different, right? Because, you look at some artists, I love their work before they got, well into it. It's just an interesting, it's all opinionated, right? It's opinionated.
Right, and you do go through phases. And I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And our main mission is to show what we do to the public, so that they understand why. When you go to one of those fine establishments, you can buy a mug for $4. But when you try and buy one from us, it's going to be $20, $25, $30.
Yeah.
And depending how well known the artist is, it goes up in price from there. So.
But it's going to slow you down that you don't gulp your coffee down, that you actually have a coffee moment, right? It's we had these amazing goblets that were made from Potter in Yuma, Arizona. Jan Clear. No, not Jan Clear, but Jan. Anyway, she made these amazing goblets, and honestly,
awesome.
I know you're not supposed to drink wine or champagne in them, but we did.
Why not?
They were for ice cream and stuff, but that's what we drank, and it would kind of you would slow down that moment. We had a lot of our Champagne Sunday shows were with these goblets, and I still see them now, and it slows you down to really appreciate life when you bring art in. When you buy something from the other thingies, those other places with box marketing and all that, and they come in a box packaging thing, then plasticky stuff, then you're gonna not have those moments as much. I'm just saying, it's the truth. Art slows you down.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree
and
with you.
And
the other thing is that they make really wonderful gifts that the person who receives the gift truly, truly appreciates.
Good point.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's it, because you're thinking about the person you're getting it for. And so when it comes to art, you have to know who you're buying it for. And so well timed on your dates, November 14th through 15th, that's a good timing for the
studio
tour.
The second full weekend in November every year. So sometimes that changes. Sometimes it's closer to the 8th and 9th. But
so this is the 9th one or 8th one happening?
We began in 2013, so
wow, yeah,
7th one, isn't it?
7th, yeah.
I don't know. Don't ask me to count.
Yeah, we started, and we were one day in 2013, and we had 10 artists. And I had somebody come into my studio, and she came all the way from Augusta, which is a good 2 hours away. And she just pleaded, please make this 2 days. I couldn't get to everybody. And the funny thing, I was looking at all of our history today, was that we were all really close to one another. We were all right kind of in Peachtree City, which is not big at all. And then there was another artist that was maybe 5 miles away in Tyrone. So now we're 3 counties large. We're
cool.
2,
wow.
possibly 3. The Friday is an option for the studio artist. And we have, like I said, 14 studios. We had more last year, but COVID really had people thinking about not doing that this year. But I'm really, really pleased with the artists who are doing this tour. and people who have jumped on board. I think we've gotten some people because there are no festivals, there are no shows for them to do this year. Everything's been canceled.
Right.
And so we have gotten some really very good artists. Not that our other artists are very good. They are. All of them are excellent. And they're fun, and they're good people. So when you go into their studio, and they'll serve beverages, and they'll serve treats. So if you come and visit me, you'll have a mimosa. And
yay,
if you'd like one. And you get to talk to them and meet them, and you're right. It makes a difference to me to meet an artist and buy from the artist that I've just met. That makes that piece much more special.
Sure, absolutely.
So you've got, was it Coweta County artists? Coweta? How do you pronounce all these?
Coweta County, and we have one artist who lives in an area that really butts up against Coweta County and Fayette County, but it's called Fulton County that she lives in. But she's in a very artsy community called Serenbe, and it's in Chattahoochee Hills. So
Chattahoochee Hills. Chattahoochee. I want to go just because it's Chattahoochee. That sounds fun.
I know. Sounds like a song.
She's new to us this year. She does plaster art, and when I saw her plaster art, it's amazing. And the length of time it takes for her to do one piece is incredible. She encompasses plant life in her plaster.
Oh.
And there are so many steps to what she does. It's beautiful and amazing and very, very time consuming.
Wow.
And her name is, if you want to know, her name is Diane Cutler.
Yeah, I was looking at her. Like Diane Cutler. Again, everyone, if you go to the website, you'll be able to click through to a page on each artist. So it's shas.tour.com. What is the Funky Shack Mercantile? Like we're in the Mercantile. You know, this is the thing today, Victoria. We're mercantiling across the country.
Yes.
Funky Shack Mercantile is a sweet little store that is their main source of business is they sell flowers, but they also have enough space that they can rent space out to artists. So everything in there is handmade.
That's cool.
And so their floral designer, Dawn Hunt, and a jeweler, Helena Moret, and a painter, Cheryl Janisk, and another furniture painter new to us this year, and her name is Heather Burkholtz. They're all located at that location.
Oh, cool. That's really cool.
And last year, I don't know that they're going to do it this year, but last year they had a lunch that they served, and that was very nice.
Wow.
It makes me sad I can't get around and go on this tour.
I know. I was thinking about do you feel that way, Victoria, with your events in Silver City?
Every year that when we have the studio tour, we always try to figure out a way that we can go on the studio tour like the day before or the several days before, but it never works out. And people are
we've done the same thing, Victoria. We've done exactly the same thing. We said, let's rent a bus and I'll go, and everybody's busy setting up.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You're not ready, and that's too bad. So I try to make it to two other studios during the year because we're really spread out here, and so when we have our tour, it's really a tour. Best sense of the word, but it would be nice to see all that. I had a question, about your own work because I looked up your website, and you had a lot of really beautiful raku pieces, and I was wondering if you decide are you deciding to do a raku work before you start, or do you just do a piece and then decide I think I'll do this in a raku method? How do you approach?
I have to decide the piece in advance because it takes a special clay. The process of raku is where once you finish your piece and put it through a bisque firing, that initial firing, then you glaze it. And, of course, I use glazes that are particular to raku firings. But I understand that you could use any glaze. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then once you glaze that piece, you put it in a kiln that you can open when it's red hot. So you put the piece in the kiln, you fire that kiln until it reaches, in my case, 1650, 1700 degrees.
Wow.
You open the kiln up and take that piece out hot, put it into a container that has combustible materials. And I like paper because it doesn't mar the surface of my piece.
Okay.
If I were to use wood chips or pine straw, which we have an abundance of here in Georgia, by the way,
sure. Yeah.
it tends to make marks on your piece.
Okay.
So I stay away from that and use paper. What happens is
do you use
once you put that hot
kind of paper? Do you use any kind of paper?
Newspaper.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, there's the recycling right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
And so then it flames up the paper, and you smother it. And that smothering of that flame creates a dance between the carbon and the oxygen, and that's what determines your colors. You could open up and go, oh, gross, this is horrible, I'm going to have to redo this. Or you have a piece that is a treasure because there's no way you can duplicate it.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you show people this when they come to your studio? I've never seen this.
What we do something similar, but we do the horsehair on it because it's more immediate. When you do the raku, you still have to wait a good 20 or 30 minutes to be able to open the canister.
Okay.
Wow.
Because it's so hot. But what we can do is we take out the piece at 1300 degrees, put it on a tabletop that can handle it, like that has a shelf from the kiln, and then you drop the horsehair on it, or a feather, and a peacock feather is lovely on a piece of pottery.
Interesting.
So that's what we do during our demonstration.
Yeah.
Cool.
But we do have the large raku kiln out for people to see.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's not something that you would want to have a lot of people around because the danger of getting burned might be too much. But
well, the nice part of my studio layout in the back where we do that is set down into the ground, and so the people who are watching are up above. And they're a good distance from where we are, and we always ask them to, grab your kid.
Ceramics is so interesting. I mean, you could try to control it, but you really can't. And one of the things that one of the ceramic artists did on the last studio tour was they did a reduction firing the day before, but they didn't open the kiln. So the draw was that they were going to open the kiln on the tour and see what it was like. And so that was exciting because people, when you open the kiln door and take the bricks away and all that kind of stuff, you just don't know. And it's exciting. It's like a treasure hunt almost, or anyway.
Or you can spend hours in tears.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
If you fired at the wrong temperature and everything's melted in your kiln.
Well,
which
my bloodhound sculpture's nose blew off and landed in some lady's bowl, which made it a really handy ashtray.
Yeah, I'm telling Andrea that is it's crazy how this,
seriously.
But either way, I think it's really cool for people to see and understand, and basically you can't have control issues if you do this.
No, because you're not in control.
Well,
yeah,
you will have
not with
control
raku,
issues.
that's for sure. And really with any kind of pottery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because you don't know what it's going to look like after that last firing, and you know what you envisioned in your mind may not be what that glaze did in the kiln.
Wow.
Right.
But the
But
glaze
still
is
might be good.
awesome.
Yeah.
The glaze is like it's living to me. It's like when you see like like sometimes after the rain there's water on the streets, but there's kind of a little bit of oil and it's reflecting light from all over and it's moving. It's like that. You really don't know what you're going to get.
I love that.
Yeah,
Ladies,
it's like that.
we have to get running here. The show's about to end, and we have music to play. We want to thank you all for joining us, and I want to give a shout out also because we've got her photo up too. Denise Prince, Sayori Weaver. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right because I don't pronounce anything correct. Hey, oh my God, I'm going to go have a drink. Sayori Weaver, and that's exciting too because you got textile art. Again, painting. Wood turning, wood burning, ceramics, clay, mixed media, everything is in there. Photography, pottery, paper artistry. I mean, so this is really exciting. SHAStour.com. Everybody, that's the website again, November 14th through 15th in Georgia. So check it out. Thank you, Andrea, for joining us. It is a real pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can't wait to get to your area. Thank you, Victoria, for co-hosting and putting up with us. You know,
it was
you know
fun.
how it is.
You had two great guests. I enjoyed talking to both of them. So
yeah, we had a good time chatting with you too about Silver City's Clay Arts Trail. So everyone, keep up with us. Day 5 is on Sunday. We have singer-songwriter Michael Ely, photographer Mark Navarro joining us, and some Hollywood history from Snykert. It's all about southern Arizona, which is Victoria's neighbor, where she is in southwest New Mexico. But anyway, here it is. We're going to close with a song, one of my favorite songs from one of my favorite musicians out of South Africa, James Saunders. And you can go to jamessaundersmusician.com. And this is just for you, Andrea, and for the Clay Arts Trail in Silver City.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And from Georgia, bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Oh, y'all. We got the y'all going
Bye,
on.
y'all.
Well, this song is called Wheel of Destiny. It's not about pottery, but it's a wheel. And when you're at the wheel, like your destiny, you don't know. Apparently, we now know you cannot control the Wheel of Destiny. So here it is, Wheel of Destiny from James Saunders. Keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. And don't forget, visit victoriachick.com. Here it is, Wheel of Destiny. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Victoria.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You're sinking sweet and slow beneath the horizon. I see you disappearing in the haze. You're sliding in and out of this dream, just a fleeting glimpse, never the same, never the same.
The story seldom has more than one part. Just a long and winding road back to the start.
What shooting stars may fall for these wishes heaped upon that shore beneath the sea of memories. I'll find you setting free my wheel of destiny. My wheel of destiny. Of destiny. Fading, fading, fading to the night. You're fading, 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 fading to the light. You're fading, fading to the night. You're fading, fading to the light. Into the light.